word came out that they were going to basically not give us our pay raise. Munez, what do you say?
I think it's just a ploy, a political ploy. I mean, it's an election year, so they just want to scare the members. I mean, really, if they, the only way they can stop the wage freeze is if the city creates I mean, says that they have a hardship, and that means it affects everybody: cops, police, cops, firemen, sanitation, etc. So it's going to be hard to prove hardship, especially after they got $4 billion from the government. So I think it's a political ploy.
Stanley, what do you say? Can they legitimately, legally, after we ratified the contract, can they come back and rescind the wages?
No, I don't think so, man. Exactly what Charlie said, unless the city is trying to claim bankruptcy or something of that nature, and all the agencies are affected, then maybe so. But not just as a single entity, and not just because they figure that, we could do that and the unions are going to sit back and allow them to do it. The fact is that the membership rates pure D hell, because nobody else in the city is taking a hit like that. It's not, their raises are not being taken from them. So we don't care about whatever issues and whatever problems you got. But the bottom line is that, we're due a raise, we're entitled to a raise, and there's nothing that economically, that you could claim that is bad enough for us not to get our raises, period. That's it.
Bottom line. Brother Ward, what do you think the response of the workers should be if transit flexes? Do you think we should really start working according to the rule?
Man, I feel like this. It's bad enough. They don't even want to pay us our snow bonus. I mean, our snow money.
That's right.
And here they're talking about taking a raise from us, which is binded by a contract. And they're still turning around, receiving money from the federal government, and they want to go through with raising the fares for the tolls and the bridges, the tunnels and bridges. We need to get together and do something about that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, bottom line, I don't care if the union members down there, the union officials down there don't want to raise no ruckus. We need to raise our own ruckus.
Agreed.
Real talk.
Real talk. Because at the end of the day, it's about us. And the stations department keeps taking heavy hits. We don't need,
keep in mind, we don't need Robert Kelly and all the rest of them flunkies down there to start a rally, to go sit in front of 2 Broadway or wherever we have to go and try to get our point across.
Understood. Message received, sir. Message received. Blocker, let me ask you a question. What should be the attitude of the CTAs if they decide we're not going to get our raises?
Slow down. Take your time. Do everything by the book. Follow your written schedule written by transit. Follow your schedule. Take your time. Because see, if your job's not complete, you can't be pushed on to another station because you're not finished your job. And then when your job isn't completed, what could they say? But you moved me. You chose to send me to another station, to supervision, because that's a constant thing. And I had to tell one supervisor, I said, I already been pulled this week twice, and you want to pull me again? I said, come on now.
Well, we're actually going to get into that. Charlie, you want to say something else?
Yeah, let me point out also that if they're claiming that there's no money, well, you know what? Stop putting money in the booth. Last year, if you look at last year's budget plan before the pandemic, the MTA said that they're losing $300 million in fares from people jumping the turnstiles. Well, if that was 300 million last year that they're losing, Well, how much are they losing this year with all those people? I mean, I work on 168, and you got to see how many people are sneaking on, and the cops aren't doing anything about it. It is ridiculous. So I feel like they're losing over $1 billion. If they lost $300 million last year when there was no pandemic and there was money in the booth, this year they're losing over $1 billion. So start putting the money in the booth, and from there, give us our raise. That's it. That's the solution.
Yeah, because the whole point is that they're not just losing money. Allegedly, they're hemorrhaging now. You know, they're hemorrhaging. But again, even with all of their hemorrhaging, we still have a job to do. Now, we basically had 2 snowstorms, and the word got back to me that there are still CTAs out there still pulling garbage in the midst of a snow emergency. Now, we addressed this once, and I want to address it once again, because now we're going to go into a whole point of supervision, but I want to address this thing about snow duty. Brother Ward, once again, could you please explain to the youngsters and the oldsters, when it comes to snow emergency, do they have to pull garbage?
Well, according to written documents, as far as snow duty is concerned, when a snow emergency is called, all CTAs, all cleaners are to perform strictly snow duties, meaning shoveling snow or throwing salt and sand. That is it. Now, if there happen to be no snow to shovel, throw the salt and sand and sit your behind down. You may have a supervisor that come tell you, oh, well, it ain't snowing, go pull the garbage. No, that is a big no-no.
Yeah.
For the simple fact, it is a snow emergency. Now, if you should happen to injure yourself down there pulling garbage, the first thing transit is going to say to you, well, it was a snow emergency. What were you doing down there pulling the garbage?
Thank you.
Bottom line.
Thank you. Brother Blocker, what'd you say?
Same thing what Ward just said. When a snow emergency is declared, you do snow duty. You don't pull garbage, you don't scrap, you don't do anything but snow duty. You know, I had a number of people come tell me, guy came tell me, oh, well, I did your garbage on a snow duty day. I just looked at him. I said, you know, we don't do garbage on a snow duty day. But like I said, sometimes I'm real mild mannered. I'll let you speak. I really don't pay you too much attention, but I'll let you speak. But even the supervisor, I had to tell you, you know, this is what we do today. This is a snow duty day. And that's it.
Now, Charlie, do you want to get in here? Because I want to move to the next segment.
No, I mean, Ward and Blocker covered it. So
Very good.
I don't have anything to add. They said it, all that needed to be said.
Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I have received texts, not the state of, but actual message texting. And the situation is that in the last 2 snowstorms, the one that just passed and the one before it, where they closed a station down at 2 o'clock, there has been bullying, there has been intimidation, the violation of the members' union rights have been violated. All of this was on full display in this snow emergency and the last snow emergency. So I'm gonna bring this down to Staley. Staley, what do you do when a supervisor steps to you and tries to make you do what you know is wrong? It's a snow emergency and they come to you and say, scrap the station.
Well, first thing I would just let the supervisor know and ask them, are you aware of what are the rules for when there's a snow emergency? And I would want, I basically would want them to answer that if they're willing to say yes or no. And if they say yes, to justify and let them know that they know their job, then the next question should be, then why are you asking me to do something that you know I shouldn't be doing? And then take it from there. Always get a supervisor's name. And of course, you know, and pass number. Just like they can ask you for your name and pass number, and your pass, you could do the same thing for them. It's not being disrespectful. It's just rule. It's just going by protocol. Anybody walking downstairs could walk up to another person, ask them for a name and pass, especially if you're engaging in any type of work or anything of that nature. See, because when it comes to them asking for maybe a G2 or so forth, you want to be able to relate to who or what supervisor that you're dealing with. You see, so yeah, you that would be the position you take. You ask them, are they aware of it, and let them answer yes or no. Now, if they answer no, then that's a problem. That's a problem for them, because as a supervisor, you're supposed to know your job. Okay, you're not supposed to put a person in harm's way, because the safety of each individual is also the responsibility of the supervisor on their tour. So be aware of that.
Charlie, supervisor steps to you and tells you point blank, we need you to do something that you know is wrong. What do?
First thing you do, either write a G2 and say you need union representation, okay, or contact the union. And I'm gonna harp on something that I've been harping on the last 3 segments, last 3 shows that you had, and that is, where is the union? There is only 9 snow locations. Why can't they go visit the CTAs and speak to the supervisor and let them know this is a snow emergency? These CTAs are only gonna do snow duty. No pulling garbage, no scrapping until the snow emergency is done. But have they done that? No. Why aren't they covering these 9 locations? What is so difficult about visiting the CTA for 15 minutes and talking to them? You know, getting a supervisor's badge number and their name. How hard is that?
Yeah.
It's not hard
So
at
in
all.
essence, so in essence, what you're saying is not just to show up, but to do some actual work.
Exactly. And what it does also, those who are intimidated can see, hey, my union is gonna fight for me if the supervisor gets out of hand. Now, let me point out, not all supervisors are like that, okay? Some of them don't even know what the rules are, but it's the union's responsibility to protect the members, and that's something they're not doing. And if they say they are, they're lying.
Yeah, they're
Ward,
home in a warm house.
Ward, let me ask you a question. Supervisor steps to you and tells you to do something that you know is wrong. You know you're not supposed to be doing it. I know, but I gotta ask you, sir. You know you're not supposed to be doing this, and they step to you and they say, in a serious tone, I need you to do X, Y, and Z. What is your comment and what is your statement, sir?
No. Plain and simple. No.
Well, wait a minute now.
Let's do whatever you want to do after that.
I am asking you to do something. I am the supervisor, and I'm asking you because it's part of your job to do X, Y, and Z. You say
no. Bottom line, my job as a cleaner on this specific day, snow emergency, I deal with snow. Nothing else.
Let me ask you this question. I want to get clear. Let's just say there's a box of garbage bags that need to be delivered to another station. All right. They call you all scheduled, and now these are heavy bags. These are heavy boxes. Do you make double trips or do you do it all in one trip?
Hey, I'm glad you asked that. Well, let's say after the first snowstorm that we had, right? My supervisor asked me, she said, Ward, this is what we're doing tonight. She called me and she told me, right? I said, this is what we're doing tonight. We're gonna replenish our rooms. We got to put 500 pounds of snow melt in each room. Now I got 3 stations. And let's say, the first station had like about 300 pounds. So that means 200 pounds got to come there. I was like, all right, this is what we're doing. No problem. I have to go to Hoyt-Schermerhorn, which is 3 stops away from where I'm at. I ride the train, get a 50-pound bag of snow melt, go back, get on the train, take it to Clawson. So that means I made 4 trips to Clawson.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's how you do that. You don't take no garbage bin and try to put no 150 pounds in the garbage bin. One bag. Now, see, I'm a man. Females ain't even gonna be able to handle 150-pound bag. So they probably go and get about 30 pounds, if that. You understand what I'm saying? But you are to make sure you have one hand free going up and down them stairs.
Mm-hmm.
All right? Ain't no such thing. I mean, I can carry 100 pounds. 100 pounds ain't nothing. I can throw them up there like this, on my shoulders. But that's not transit rules. If I should happen to fall, transporting that snow melt, it's on me. Mm-hmm. See, everybody got to be mindful, and y'all need to know this. When the conductor got hit by the train, right? The first thing transit asked when they got to the scene was, what type of boots did he got on?
Why did that matter, sir?
They want to know if he have the proper PPE. So that way, if he didn't have on his proper boots, that accident would have been all on him.
Oh, okay.
That's how transit thinks.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
In the midst of an accident, they'll look at the way to catch you wrong. So you got to be smart. Now, their rules are you have to have one hand free when transporting anything, whether it be garbage, a box of garbage, anything going up and down the stairs. You have to have one hand free to hold on to the rail. That's what y'all got to keep in mind. And that's all I did that whole night was rode the train back and forth. And I think I transported about maybe 350 pounds, but I didn't finish the whole thing. I'm taking my time. I got to wait for the train. And I mean, I finished one station and I almost finished the second station, but that was it. That's all I did the whole night, riding back and forth.
Yeah.
So it's how you look at it. Be smart. You know what I'm saying? Because I've seen people come all the way to Queens to Court Square to pick up snow melt, right? And they got a garbage bin and they want to throw 200 pounds or 150 pounds in there. I'm like, you got to drag that up and down the stairs. What you gonna do? Yeah. Oh, I'll make it. Okay. Or they'll come there with a hand truck. What you got a hand truck for? Oh, I'm gonna get some snow melt. Well, what you gonna do when you got to get to them stairs?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, going down may be easy, but you still got to go up when you get to wherever you're going. What is wrong with y'all? Take your time. Work smart.
Well, something that's very important, since you're speaking on this issue. The rules state specifically that a CTA is not supposed to lift no more than 50 pounds.
Right.
That's qualifying for the job. You lift 50 pounds. Also, you understand this. When you using one of them garbage bins, that's for what? That's not for that. It's called a garbage bin for a reason. It's for garbage, not for transporting anything other than garbage. But here's the thing that you also got to be aware of. God forbid you yanking one of them things and you rip, like I have a problem with my shoulder as right now. But
me too.
You rip a rotator cuff or something. Or do you think that supervisor going to say to you, or say to management when they ask them, okay, what's happened? His supervisor going to say, well, I told him, or I let him, or whatever. You know, the supervisor going to play like, hey, I'm not aware of this. You know,
they don't know.
That's why when you're asked to do something such as that, use a hand truck, or asked to use something that is not a part of the job that you're doing, you have a right to ask for a safety resolution form and ask them to put in writing that they're going to accept responsibility should you be injured while you're doing this task that you've been asked to do. Let them put it in writing, because they can very easily turn around and say, no, I didn't ask him to do that. He came there and did that on his own. You know, and even if them saying that, there's always the option of them saying, well, you saw him with that and you didn't say anything. You know, because still, they're responsible for your safety. And going back to that issue where you just brought up the issue about boots. let's be clear about something. There's a rule that says when you come on duty, that a supervisor is supposed to inspect you and make sure you're in proper uniform and proper gear to work.
Yeah.
Now, if you come in with a pair of boots on and they allow you to work, I don't care if if you get hurt, the only thing that the judge at the workers' comp hearing is going to ask, where did he get hurt at? On the job. Okay, I don't want to hear anything else.
Right.
All right, we don't care about his boots or whatever that, because y'all have a rule that says the CTA or any workers are supposed to have been checked before they were allowed to go out and do their work, and they're supposed to have been in proper uniform. So they can't use that as an option. There's many stories that going around about this issue when it comes to workers' comp. I've done a few cases. I've been hurt myself, and it's not always like everybody said. Well, they said you wasn't in there. They could controvert whatever they want. TA does controvert cases when they do. But the bottom line is the question that sits on the judge's mind from the beginning, from the outset, is where were you when you got hurt?
Yeah.
On the job.
Okay.
Now we done established that. Now we got to make TA turn around and accept responsibility for your accident. Okay, so that would be the next move. And usually they do make them accept responsibility. And then you take it from there. But all the other scary tactics and all of this stuff that people use, don't go with that. You got you've been involved in an accident, do your own homework. When you get your lawyer, just don't depend on your lawyer either. Do your homework. Look up the law. Look up past cases pertaining to your accident. You can find plenty of cases relating to it, and you can see the results from them cases. How do you think actual real lawyers do? They look up old cases themselves, see what the standard that was set by certain decisions, and then you take it from there. But don't just sit there and just allow people to dictate to you your situation. Be knowledgeable and be attentive. Be involved in your stuff. This is your health. This is about you. So don't just sit there and other people say, well, I got a lawyer. Okay, you got a lawyer. That's good. But it's also good for you to find out if the lawyer is doing what he or she should be doing as well.
Blocker, let me ask you this question. When it comes to bullying and intimidation, how do you deal with that? Supervisor comes to you and tries to bully you and intimidate. How do you deal with that, sir? Bless you, sir. Bless you.
First off, you can't get mad and you can't be scared, because the same thing that goes for us goes for them. Because you can write a supervisor up too and take it to the union or take it to an outside agency. You can take it to the labor relations outside and explain to them the situations that you constantly keep going through. Because I've written up a GSM.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that, sir. But keep going.
Yeah, but because a lot of them like to try to intimidate you.
Right.
I got intimidated in the beginning, but I've been here too long. I got hurt a few times from listening to them, from doing some of the things like Ward said, doing outside of your job description. No, that's not what we do. We follow a schedule just like y'all. That's basically it. You can write them up too. You take it to the union first, and if you don't get no satisfaction, you still, am I right or wrong? Do you got about approximately 120 days to take it to PERV?
You actually got a year.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Charlie, let me ask you this question. What do you do when a supervisor wants to write you up? What's the first thing that you begin the process of doing, sir?
When the supervisor wants to write me up?
Yes.
On what? false charges or?
Discipline, you did something that they deemed wrong and they said, look, give me a statement. What do you do?
You know, if they want a statement, like I said, all you have to do is just write need union representation. That's all you need to write. Don't incriminate yourself. Don't write anything that's gonna hurt you in the long run, okay? Because they'll use that against you.
Yeah.
So make it short, make it simple. After that, you got 3 days. Once you write that, you got 3 days. Is that right, Anthony? 3
Yes.
days to after you write that to write a G2. Yeah, so that buys you 72 hours. And you can confer with somebody from the union, or you know, and they should be able to help you out and write a G2 that's not gonna hurt your case. So
Go ahead.
yeah, so I mean, be wise. A lot of people they get intimidated, like, and they start writing things like, "Oh, I did this and I did that."
Yeah.
Well, you know what? It could be twisted what you write, so be careful what you write. That's why I say all you have to do is write 3 simple words: need union representation.
Anthony Staley, let me ask you a question. Who do you contact when the supervisor wants to write you up? Now, Charlie touched on it. I want you to go a little bit deeper. What's the process, sir? What do you do? You're on the station. Supervisor says something was done. You basically say, no, I did what I'm supposed to do. They said, give me a statement. You say what?
First thing I would first, okay. Supervisor asked me for a statement, and basically I've done what I'm supposed to do, had done, and it's not a frivolous issue. I would give him a G2 saying that I would give a G2 forthcoming after I speak to a union rep, and then I would contact the union and make them aware of it, or contact who's the best person that can help you write a G2. That's the key to the whole thing, is not just waiting the 72 hours, but also the key is how you word your G2 means everything, okay? Mean everything in the world. It means the difference between either a situation going forward or a situation being just eradicated, period. But yeah, that's the first thing. I would say I would give them a statement saying you asking for union representation. Then I would call it union or the best person that you may know that can help you and assist you in writing the G2.
Cool, cool. Just want the members to know that this is information that we're dealing with right now, only because of the information that we've received from the road, and that which CTAs are being bullied and they're being intimidated and they're being forced to do things that they're not really supposed to do. And also, I'll go back to you. Well, let me go to Brother Ward. The situation is this. You have called the union, and they, in their sentence structure, have sided with supervision. What do you do now? You've called the union, told them the situation, and they said, well, you know, you should just do it. What do you do now?
Well, first of all, get that union rep's name and pass number.
Yep.
Blow him up. Make sure you put it out there. Find somebody else that's going to help you with your situation. Bottom line.
Yep.
Bottom line.
Because for the last 3 years, there has been this nonsense of the current administration union reps doing a lot of stuff, messing people up. And you guys know what I'm talking about, okay? Not things have been done good, but yet the members are suffering. I mean, you know, and the thing about it is this, they're suffering needlessly. Now, I've said this, and I'll continue to say it, that your vote is the reason where you are right now. Now, a lot of people say, well, I didn't vote for them. Well, you know, a vote no is a vote yes for them. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, this time around, we got to be able to put in the leadership that is necessary to get the job done. Now, go ahead, sir. I'm heading your way anyway. Go.
Yeah, I wanted to just interject this right quick.
Yes,
and
sir.
This is on the behalf of the supervisors that are actually good supervisors and know what to say and know what not to say, know what to ask of people and what's not. There was a situation where at Broadway Junction, me and a few cats, we were there, and there was no snow, and of course, a higher up, I ain't gonna say no name, came and says, you know, told us to pull garbage and all that, and we said no, we're here for snow duty, blah blah blah. We're not. And then they said, you know, well, if you're not gonna do that, you know, then we're gonna write you up. So then, of course, I had said at the time, I said, okay, I'll take that write up. I have no problem taking that write up. So the person didn't like what I said. She turned around and went to another supervisor, which was relatively a new person, you know, and this is how they play games with their own supervision and put them under pressure as well.
Yeah.
She went to that person and said, write me up for what I said, you know, saying that I wasn't going to do, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I said, okay, I'll still take it. I'll still take it because I know the rule says we're not supposed to do this. But anyway, about 2 weeks later, one day I get a phone call. It's from Labor Relations. And they turned around and said point blank, oh, Mr. Staley, you don't have to worry about this right up. This is getting thrown out. But it's like, you gotta understand, you gotta have the heart to stand on the words that it is. They're going to bully you. They're going to intimidate you. They're going to say, oh, I'm going to take you out of service. There's only 3 things that you could get taken out of service for. Gross insubordination, which is cursing somebody out, using foul language or something of that nature. It's also, it's 3. I don't have them 3 in front of me, but I could pull them up. But the 3 major, they're major infractions that we're talking about here. Fighting. And also it's fighting, cursing somebody out, using, you know, foul language of that. But insubordination, there's a difference. Understand this. When people start talking about insubordination, there's a difference between gross insubordination and insubordination. Gross insubordination is an HOS offense. You could be taken out of service. Insubordination, normal, and like refusing, doesn't always require anybody to be HOS, but they use it as a means to intimidate you, to make you scared. You know, you take your badge and pass, and then you send you home, and you're all nervous now because you're thinking about, oh, I'm going to get fired or something like that. But the words, I have a copy, which I should have had in front of me because of this here, which I'm gonna pull up right now while we're talking, where it's a copy of the book on discipline. But there's only 3 criteria for HOS in anybody. And just because you said, I'm not supposed to do this, doesn't require you to be HOS. You're saying there's a rule that says, I can't do this. You cannot HOS me about it because you have something in black and white that says, that gives you the right to refuse. And not only that, a supervisor or whoever it is, superintendent, whoever, knowingly asking you to do something that you're not supposed to do, then they should be written up as well because they should know their job. They should not put you in a position of that nature where you're going to have to make a decision and you're being indirectly threatened with being taken out of service.
Now
that should not be.
Now that brings me to another point. Blocker, let me ask you a question. Can a member write up supervision?
Yes. Yes, you can write them up just the same way they can write you up.
Now I'm gonna get into this with Brother Staley, but when you get ready to write them up, shouldn't you actually know the rule that they have broken before you write them up?
Well, I, like Stanley said, do some research. Cause see, I go get my rule book, pull my rule book out, and find it. I think it's the first 2 chapters. As far as
10.
The first 10.
Yes, rule number 10 is the one that basically we can actually use.
Right, but I'm saying you just look in your rule book and you find every rule that they broke, and that's what you put on your G2.
Munez, let me ask you a question. Have you ever written up a supervisor or things of that nature?
No, I've been fortunate enough not to. I mean, I usually get along with supervisors. I haven't really had a problem. Let me just go back a little bit.
Yes, sir.
Anthony was he mentioned that to get in touch with somebody who knows how to write a G2. Well, a couple of years ago there was a snow duty incident, and one of the cleaners, the supervisor told him to pull garbage, and it was snowing outside. And she goes, I want a statement. So I helped him with it. I said, this is what you write. The supervisor, being a supervisor, she should know that we don't pull garbage when there's a
Exactly.
snow emergency. So that put her on the spot. When she saw that, I don't think they did anything with it. When you put something like that, sometimes they see that and they just forget about the G2, forget about the write-up, everything is squash. So yeah, you're right. You have to think smart. You can, like I said, you can either talk to somebody who knows how to write a G2 or just write need union representation.
Mhm.
Staley, going a little bit deeper. When we have an incident like that where supervision basically tells you something and you realize that what they're telling you is wrong and you want to write them up, go into that process of you writing the supervisor up, because is there retaliation?
There certain depending on how you write the person up, because retaliation, and especially if you take it outside, is usually really harshly frowned upon. And it's also an admission of guilt when you start to retaliate against somebody. So it's sort of like an admission of guilt as well. So when you write, matter of fact, when anytime you do a write up, you just don't write directly to superintendents and so forth. You do basically the chain of command, you see, and make sure there are more than one eyes on it and see who responds, who do their job and who don't.
Yeah.
And after that, then if necessary, if nothing is done, and then you're being put in the presence of this supervisor, and this supervisor now is singling you out and trying to retaliate now against you, then you start preparing to take it outside. But not only that, before you go outside, you also have an option to go to EEO within transit. All right. So you could deal with them and see how they handle it. A lot of times when you go outside of transit, you got to prepare some of these agencies about how transit operate, how your contract applies, how the rules and regulations apply. You got to point these out, because a lot of them are just come in there and they'll sit on it and they'll just make a decision just out of the blue. Also, be careful of this. Transit have a tendency to pad when you're a fighter, especially if you're a fighter, you have a tendency to pad your disciplinary record to discredit you when you go outside of them, to make you look like a bad employee. But transit makes all their workers, whenever there's a problem, just like, when the issue with the bus driver, any accident or anything, transit takes the position first to throw the worker under the bus. It's their fault. It's that person's fault. They start right off the bat. So you always got to be aware of that. This is what they do. You could be the most perfect worker with 20 years of never having an accident or whatever the situation may be. But when it's something, when a situation come up, especially if it's publicized, they are going to cover their asses first, no matter how good of a worker you are.
Yeah.
Well, in that vein, going just a little bit deeper, when should you know to go outside of transit to get this issue solved? Okay.
When you see that nothing has been done.
Okay, stop right there. All right, stop right there. Now I have heard over the last 3 years that grievances get filed and the leadership refuses. They sit on the grievance. They don't want to take it no further. Now, it's a legitimate grievance. It's a legitimate grievance, and the leadership, the union leadership, does not want to go further. What do you do as a member?
Then you need to take it outside to PERB. If it's something that can be detrimental to the rest of that'll put everybody else in the same predicament as you, you can take it outside of PERB and let them handle it if the union is not going to push forward.
Now, PERB is the Public Employees Relations Board.
Yes.
Now, their job is to deal with issues such as this.
Such as well, more so with issues that your union refused to do. And also PERB, you could take management to PERB. You could take your employee to PERB as well. There's 3 criteria for that as well. One of them, the major one, being unfair labor practices. You see, that's a serious charge against management when you bring them up on unfair labor practice charges.
Okay, now, Brother Ward.
But let me just say this right quick.
Go ahead.
The 3 criteria for being HOS, alcohol and drugs, is 1, fighting and gross and what you call it is the 3 criteria for the be HOS. And I'm looking at it right now in this book on discipline for everybody. In this book I'm looking at right now has every single union that operates within the authority, as well as managers. Everybody that works under transit is under the guidelines of this book. This is the disciplinary book for every single person working for the authority. And like I said, gross insubordination, drugs and alcohol, and fighting are the 3 majors that you could be taken out of service for. Now they've been adding some in because the union been allowing them to get away with it. But as per this book, it only says fighting, drugs and alcohol, gross insubordination, and gross insubordination is habitual language and threatening somebody, or is that you could be taken out of service for.
Now, question, that book that you have, is that book given to the members?
This book is not given to the members, but if you read the beginning of the book, it states specifically that anybody that's doing cases or representing members should have a copy of this book. It states specifically in it's called the purpose of this book. The purpose of the manual is to assist in training of managers, supervisors, employees who are responsible for the processing of for processing discipline and to ensure uniform procedural of application of discipline. Says it right there, meaning that anybody calling themselves sitting in front of management and calling themselves representing somebody should be aware of this book.
Well, I hope and expect that members would reach out to us or others that they trust to get a hold of this book, because it is very, very important that every member has this book. I want to switch gears just a little bit. Question, this week, John Samuelson came out and he did a video. And primarily in the video, a lot of people said that he was just blowing smoke, that he's not going to do anything. Charlie, give me an insight of what you saw about that video.
Are you talking about the wage?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's an act. It's an act. Remember, it's an election year, and this union is desperate to keep the same lazy, incompetent. I mean, these people are just, they don't do anything. They've been there for so long, they got comfortable. And I mean, really, let me ask everybody in this panel, what positive things have come out of this administration that you can recall? Oh, let's make it a little easier. What did you like about this last contract? Nothing. Okay.
Exactly.
Now it's $100 to go to the emergency room. You got a $20 raise. A lot of us got less than $20 a week raise. You go to the emergency, one of your kids gets sick, you don't have a raise for 5 weeks. Okay, you have 2 kids. You take them to the emergency room in 1 year, and that's 10 weeks that you didn't get a raise because you had to take them to the emergency room and pay $100 for each of them. So you didn't get anything, you know. And now they want to take away this threat about taking away our wage increases. You know, I mean, it's bull. It's just a lot of bull. Did you notice also that Sanderson never mentioned Cuomo by name? Yet Cuomo is the head of the MTA. Cuomo took $145 million out of the MTA budget and transferred it, or is transferring to other projects. Okay, if they're crying about money, why is he doing something like that? If the union, if Cuomo has shown that he's an enemy of this union, but yet this union endorses him, supports him, gave him $500,000 of our COPE money, okay? How do you continue supporting a guy like that who constantly kills this union? I don't understand it.